What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bet Daily, a Wednesday, December 7th edition, back for another week here of some sports betting. Before we get into today's action, let's talk a little bit about, let's look forward a little bit, I guess. Aaron, we'll start off with you. We've got the college football playoffs set up. Georgia and Ohio State's the game. It's been just kind of buzzing on Twitter. Line opened at 6.5, went to 7 real fast. And now is back at 6.5 again. Do you think this line's going back over 7? You expect it to sit here? And who do you like early here? And do you think you need to bet it now?
I would bet Georgia now, minus at 6.5. I just have a feeling this is going to go up 7.5. But by the time they kick off, it's weird. The people really still seem to believe in Ohio State. And I don't know if it's because of the brand Ohio State or because they just think that Michigan game was kind of flukish, even though it looked exactly like it looked last year. A lot of people like Ohio State. A lot of people that I respect like Ohio State in this game. I'm not one of those people. I think if Michigan bullies you around, Georgia's really going to bully you around. I'll take the Georgia minus 6.5, and I think you got to bet it right now.
Yeah, I bet it right when it came out, because I thought that was the only time we're going to see 6.5. I'm really surprised this line got back below 7, Papa Dude.
Oh, I am too. I thought it would just go up. I think what it is with these teams that have a prolific offense, the line tends to favor that offensive team. And Ohio State can put up points because Oklahoma is always favored. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason they score a lot of points. So I am really shocked it came back down to 6.5. I jump all over it too. I just don't think Ohio State's that good. I don't, and I haven't all year. And Michigan proved it. Now, the other thing you got to look about that game, Ohio State sold out to stop the run. They sold out to stop the run. They did not think Michigan could go deep on them, and they did. It was a very poor game plan defensively. They'll adjust. Georgia's not as good offensively, but still, I just don't think they can stop Georgia's running game. I think Georgia's too physical. I do.
It seems like Georgia's almost a better version of Michigan, and that doesn't bode well for Ohio State or Michigan if they're able to get to the finals. I mean, you want to play a team that you have if you're the underdog, you want to be facing a team that you have the opposite matchup where your strength is either they're facing their strength, but you don't want to be playing a better version of yourself because there's very few holes in that situation. Other college football game, playoff game, Michigan TCU. Michigan opened at 9. This one went up to 10 and has since been bet down to 8 now. Papa Dude, we'll start off with you here. Any reason to bet this early when it's sitting on the board at 8?
This one is a little, this is a little harder. Again, TCU is getting no respect, and I think they're better than what we think. That one scares me just a little bit, and again, this is going to be logic against what I just said. Michigan doesn't have that offensive explosiveness, even though they showed it against Ohio State. It was because Ohio State's brilliant defensive coordinator screwed up. And I don't think anybody's talking about that. I can't believe no one is saying, guys, you sold out. You put 9 men in the box and they kept beating you deep. Anyway, this is another story. I think TCU is going to play that underdog role. I think they're pretty good. Here's the thing that scares me about TCU. Their defense is very, very suspect. And in a situation when you're going up against a really solid team that can do a lot of things right, that defense, I think I can't see it going any lower than 8. So if you like Michigan, 8, 9, 10, whatever, you better hop on it right now. I don't think it's going to go lower than 8. I really don't.
Aaron, I thought the way to attack this was actually to play the first half, specifically TCU, if you can catch a touchdown. I've been hoping that pops on the board. When it got to 10, we got to 6.5 in the first half, but never saw the full 7. I kind of like TCU first half, but I want to see if I can get as many points as possible. What do you think about that, Cap?
Ooh, this is one that's really tough because there's so many question marks, in my opinion, around both these teams. The Big Ten, what was it this year, right? Like Ohio State, Michigan, they were way up here, but are they really good, or was the Big Ten not very good? I don't know. I lean Michigan in the game. I don't want to touch TCU at all, no matter what in this game, no matter how many points. I'm real skeptical on what this Big 12 was this year, right?
I agree.
It's not good, I don't think. I think you had 3 or 4 teams that were just good, right? K-State, they were good. TCU, definitely good. Maybe Texas was just good, And after that, I don't know. I don't think they were very good, these teams. And so I'm really skeptical of what TCU actually is. And I think Michigan is the play no matter what you try to do here. Could be wrong. And the reason why it's a little shaky is we don't really know what the Big Ten was either. So this is a really weird game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's probably the more fun of the 2 games just because I think there's a lot more intrigue about it. And you could tell me that TCU wins by double digits or Michigan wins by 20, and I believe you either way.
Well, the narrative is there, right? If TCU wins by 20, it's like, well, Michigan was just big and slow and TCU had the athletes. And then if Michigan wins by 20, it's, well, Michigan just bullied them all over the field. Either narrative, if we get in here the day after the game, we're talking, it's like, we could see that happening.
Yeah, definitely more variance in that game. It seems like Georgia's going to be able to get the job done against Ohio State, at least in my opinion, in the first spot. All right, I'm going to put you guys both on the spot here real quick. We don't have a ton of stuff here on a Wednesday. We're not going to go into a race of the day because there's just not that much out there. So before the year started, my Super Bowl pick was Chiefs versus Cowboys. We're here sitting in week 14. We just have a huge injury to Jimmy Garoppolo, who now may actually return in the playoffs based on the x-rays we heard from yesterday. We've got the Chiefs who fall to the Cincinnati Bengals, who the Bengals seem on the upswing here. Lamar Jackson hurt for Baltimore. Who you got in the Super Bowl right now, Aaron? Who you taking as your Super Bowl matchup if we ask her right now?
Well, my Super Bowl matchup to start the season were the Chiefs and the 49ers. And I would feel very good if not for that injury. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go Chiefs 49ers.
Yeah, I still believe in the Chiefs. I still think they're the best team in the AFC, although the Bills did look good, and they kind of righted the ship a little bit. It makes me a little concerned. They're currently the betting favorite to get out of the AFC, Papa Dude. I'm going to stick with my Cowboys Chiefs. I think the Cowboys are actually very, very dangerous. I still can't buy into Philly. I just cannot buy into them as the best team in the NFC yet. Papa Dude, who you got in your Super Bowl matchup?
Well, it's really funny. We covered this sort of on our show Monday night. We looked at the odds to win the Super Bowl for each team. And we picked our team based on the quality of the bet, what the odds were. And I took the Cowboys.
I like it.
And Aaron took the Bengals. Right, Aaron? Yeah.
Yes. For the Bengals were 12-1.
Right. It's not. Yeah. It was
and based the Cowboys were 8-1. So we said that's the value that's on the board.
That's the best value.
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn between Buffalo and Kansas City, and I'm going to, it's hard for me to choose between the two till I find out who has the home field throughout the playoffs. Because I think those 2 teams are clearly the best 2 teams in the AFC. I don't think there's anything different. Now, Miami could throw a monkey wrench into it. And Cincinnati is one of those teams, they know how to beat the Chiefs. That's the thing. They beat them 3 in a row. They got their number. So you got to keep, those 4 teams, I do think Kansas City and Buffalo are the 2 best, but Miami could still win that division. They could do it. They're pretty good. And then Cincinnati's the other one you got to look at. Tennessee, forget it. In the AFC, I'm just like you, Mike. I want to like the Eagles. I love to watch them. I don't know why I'm not on them. I guess they just have to prove it to me. I don't know, but they just keep winning. And they're not beating the best teams, but they're not losing. So I'm with you. I think Dallas is the best team of the 2, but they're frickin' Dallas.
And Mike McCarthy is their head coach, who will screw the pooch at some point down the line. It's whether or not he's going to do it in the playoffs or it's going to be late regular season, but he's going to make a couple coaching mistakes there, specifically clock management.
And I'm worried about the Niners simply because of the quarterback situation, If he was healthy, I'm not a guy that thinks Garoppolo can't win it because he's on a great team. They're really good. They're solid. He could win with that team. But with him being out, they may lose a couple of games down the stretch and they may not win the division, be in a screwy situation, So I do want to make one comment if I have a minute here. I think Tampa Bay saved their season Monday night.
Yeah.
If they had lost that game, I think they were done. I think another team might have won it with a 7-10 record.
As someone who had a Saints division bet, that was a pretty frustrating game.
Oh, it
I
had
did a while ago. I got 4.5 to 1 on week 2 or something like that. Mark Ingram running out of bounds. I mean, he was hurt, so why was he in the game? Runs out of bounds 1 yard short, throwing the ball on 4th and 18. I mean, or 3rd and 18. There's just a bunch of bonehead moves there that you saw from that New Orleans staff that allowed Brady to pull that comeback off, and a phenomenal comeback from Brady, especially after not being able to move the ball at all.
Right.
But you could have put a fork in them had they lost that game.
I think they were done. Yeah, they were done.
Yeah, it's interesting in the NFL this year. They speak about parity all the time. Feels like it's pretty top heavy this year. You've got 4 teams sitting at 10 to 1 or less. 6 teams sitting at 10 to 1 to less, including the Bengals. Now they've gotten bet down to 10 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. I don't see how it's not one of those 6 teams. And that's the Bills, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Bengals, and the Niners. Those are the 6 10 to 1 less. Outside of that, I think it's going to be very, very tough. I agree. I think, not being a homer, I think the Dolphins could make some noise.
I do too.
It's very difficult for them to win 3 playoff games in a row. I think they could be scary, but 3 in a row is going to be awfully tough.
They could pull an upset of somebody for sure. One more thing too, quickly. I think this is the boringest college football playoff I can remember in a long time.
My best bet, if we could, like my best college football playoff bet, I said it, I think it was on Sunday, just bet Georgia minus 130 to win the title. It's up to 149 now. I think that's the latest I've seen, but I don't see how Georgia kind of blows.
There just aren't any stories. There's no stories involved in this other than TCU. Well, you got an Ohio State team that everybody knows shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
Snuck their way in there. If you got USC in, you had a story. You had a story. I'm glad we didn't get them. But
I'm a little surprised they didn't do Georgia, TCU, and Michigan, Ohio State.
I think they wanted to avoid that game again.
Let me ask you, though, why? Why would you want to avoid that matchup? I don't get it.
That might make it more interesting.
I think it totally would.
Yeah.
That would be my argument, that you create that story, right? I mean, the viewership would be through the roof there. You get a rematch. Yeah. I mean, it would create a lot of interest. And let's be honest, you're not getting that game in the title game. You might and you also get the other side. You get TCU as the scrappy underdog against Georgia, right? The storyline is better in both games if you go that route.
You're right.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And I agree with Papa Dude. They clearly tried to avoid it. But why would you try to avoid a rematch after all that happened and all the shit talking between those 2 teams? That would be unbelievable to have that game back. But alas.
But I do think they got the best 4 teams. I think they did the right thing with those teams.
And I think that's the other problem. The teams, 2 of them backed their way in.
Yes.
Because other teams didn't take care of business. And now it's just a big type of
I would say that Papa Dude, they got the 4 deserving teams.
That's what I mean. That's
not
what
necessarily the best 4 teams.
Absolutely.
So definitely a little difference there.
Yeah. There's 2 teams that can argue they're better than TCU or whoever you want to throw in there. One's Tennessee, who's got to be the most sick bunch there is, and the other's USC.
Yeah, the Tennessee one is absolutely brutal. I mean, if they win that game against South Carolina, they are in.
They're in.
It's not even a question mark there.
No, they didn't even have to win a title, a conference championship to get there. They had,
and they would be number 3 as well if they would have won that game, but they didn't. So
I gotta say, it cracks me up that after all these years, the Big 12 getting shit for not having a title game, they almost miss out on the playoff because they have a title game. I mean, and you almost have 2 teams get in who do not play that last week because of all of it. So
it is. You're right.
Be careful what you ask for. All right, let's jump over to the hardwood to kick off the days of sports action. Marquee game. This one's really easy in the NBA. The 20-5 Celtics heading into the 16-8 Suns today. Phoenix 12-2 at home. The Celtics 9-3 away. Boston's been the best team in the NBA here, about quarter way through the season. Currently the favorite to win the NBA title. Aaron, they're laying 2 on the road. I think this is the first time Phoenix has caught points in a long time at home. Do you want to catch the 2? You're sticking with the red-hot Celtics.
Suns in an ambush tonight. Look out. Celtics are in trouble. Going out west. They're going to that place. There might be a riot tonight. They're so excited for this game. Suns in an ambush. I'll take the Suns on the money line tonight.
I kind of like the over at 230, Papa Dude, with how much we've seen Boston score here throughout the year. Any thoughts on the total here?
No, but I'm gonna say this. No one gets that excited about a regular season NBA game. I'll tell you that right now. It's not going to be an ambush. Nobody cares because if you lose, big deal. Nobody cares. So I like Boston tonight. I don't think Suns are playing that well. Chris Paul's still out or not playing. I just don't think they can. 230. Let's see. Let me do some math here. That's 115 to 115.
Nice math.
I think I'd go over.
Yeah.
I think I'd go over if I was going to bet it because Boston can put points on the board and the Suns can too. So I like the Celtics tonight.
Robin just hit the 15-1 shot there to start out Gulfstream's pick 5. The 9-horse gets home in a head bob over the 3. Gulfstream has been wild through this first week and a half or so that we've been talking about it. The pick 5, late pick 5, almost carried over yet on Sunday as well. I think two people had it total. Yeah. So absolutely crazy results here to kick off Gulfstream. A really fun track to be betting here, especially now that we have this pristine turf course back. All right, let's talk about one other game here in the NBA. Aaron, the Warriors are headed in to take on the Jazz in Utah. This Jazz team has just continued with it going. They are still 14-12, 7.5-point favorites against the Warriors tonight. Warriors still struggling on the road. However, they have now won 2 games at least. They started, I believe, it was 0 for 8, 2 for 2 since. Do you want to take the 7.5 for the Warriors? Or you want to lay it with the Jazz?
Ooh, tough one. I think the Jazz, we talked about them a lot on the show. They got off hot and now they're kind of going backwards a bit. Give me the points with the Warriors. I think Jazz win by 3. So I'll take Warriors plus 7.5.
I kind of agree. Jazz win, Warriors cover. Papa, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was going to take that. Then I did some research. Curry's out. A couple other guys are out. That's why that line's 7.5. A little shaky. You don't have your star. A little shaky on the road. So I don't think I would take it.
All right, let's head over to the ice here. We've actually are covering a couple of the better games. I'm going to go to the Bruins Avs for my best bet. Aaron heading to the Rangers Golden Knights. So let's talk about the third best game on the board. The Wild heading into the Calgary Flames. Calgary minus 155 on the money line. Total sitting at 6 here, Papa Dude. Like the Wild or the Flames tonight?
Well, if you're looking for an upset, I would say you take the Wild because they are playing great.
Well, and they're the underdog. Huh? And they're the underdogs.
Oh, yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. If you're looking for an upset, you take the Wild, right? Calgary's not as good as they have been. And like I say, Minnesota, we waited. We knew they were better than what they were playing. And now they're on a roll. So if you're looking for somebody to take, I would take them in this one. I almost used that one too, but we need some wins, so it's too risky, so I didn't do it. And anyway, I like the Wild tonight. I just don't think this Calgary team's as good as they've been in the past.
Total sitting at 6 there, and I think it's kind of a sneaky under. These two teams can play some defense. You've got some top-end offense, but the bottom parts of these lineups don't put pucks in the net as much as the top part of them. Do you have any interest in that total of 6? Do you have a side you like here?
The problem with going under is the Minnesota goaltending is wildly sporadic. If they get good goaltending tonight, it could be a 3-2 type of game. If not, the floodgates could open. I would stay away from the over-under at 6. I think the Flames are going to get it done tonight. The Wild are playing well. I am on the Flames side tonight, though, because of just what I said. When you have goaltending that's sporadic and then you go on the road, it's usually not a good sign, because usually when you go on the road, it's a little bit tougher to score goals. You have a little bit more low-scoring games, and I'm not sure that the Wild will be able to do that. So I'm going to take the Flames. It's a great game. You can bet that I will watch every second of this game tonight.
We got 3 bangers on the ice. It's going to be a fun night in the NHL. All right, let's head over to the best bets here. Papa Dude, you are going to be the long-winded one here with a 3-team money line parlay. So I'll let you kick this puppy off.
Okay, well, I can't stay with these parlays. Now, before I start, I had a hard time today finding something. So I went with a 3-team parlay to where we can get plus money. I started off with a 2, but it was minus. And then I got to looking, and I threw in one I think's a cinch to get us to plus money. So that will be the one that beats me. I went with I went with 2 NBA games that I feel pretty confident on. The Grizzlies are at home not the Grizzlies, but it's the Grizzlies are at home.
My bad.
Grizzles.
So the Grizzlies are at home to play the Thunder. And the Thunder have been playing very, very well, but they won 3 straight. I don't think the Thunders are that good to win 4 in a row and to go into Memphis and win. Now, Memphis still has one of their main guys hurt. But I think the Thunder are playing very, very well. I'm very proud of them. I like to watch them. They're kind of fun. But I don't think they're going to be able to win 4 in a row. So I like that. I like Memphis in that one. Then we got the Bucks, one of the best teams in the league, at home against a pretty good Sacramento team that's kind of sneaky. That one I'm worried about. I'm a little worried about that one because, sometimes the Bucks have a tendency to lay down a little bit or let down a little, and the Kings can score. So that one bothers me a little. But I still think at home they should win. And then to get into the plus money, we got the Hoosiers of Indiana at home against Nebraska. The Cornhuskers are a little better this year in basketball, but I can't see them going into Bloomington and beating Indiana. So we get plus money on 3 teams that are solid favorites. So hopefully I can get through these 3. And I don't think any of them's late. That's a good thing, too. So I get this over with pretty early.
I think the latest tip-off here is, I believe, 8 o'clock Eastern. So we will all be awake for the finales of these versus some of your other picks, which is kind of nice. No obscure college basketball game today, Papa Dude?
No, I don't have one. There wasn't anything good to pick today. So, no, I don't have one.
All right, let's head over to the ice here. I'm going to go to my best bet, and I'm going to go against the red-hot Boston Bruins. I'm going to take Colorado Avalanche plus 155 on the money line. Bruins have been the best team in the NHL. They ripped off, I think it was like 14 straight at home, something ridiculous. But this is not a wonderful spot for them. This is going to be their first game on a road trip. Colorado is trying to get revenge. They lost 5-1 in Boston a few days ago. Now you get to come home, make Boston travel to you. You get to try and get it back. I think they should be closer to a -1 or plus 115, plus 120, somewhere in that range. So plus 155, I'll take what I think is a slight edge. And what I agree with Papa Dude is a tough day to find big bet or a nice solid best bet. So I'll take the Avs plus 155 to enact some revenge on that 5-1 loss they had to the Bruins in Boston a couple days ago. Aaron, I saw you clapping. You like the Avs tonight too?
Good pick. Good pick. I'm really happy because I had that one wrote down. I almost sent you that. Yes, good pick. You're right. It's not so much that I believe Colorado is a much better team than the Bruins. It's just this is a tough spot. And the Bruins played their asses off a couple of nights ago. Even Heather was watching this game with me. The Bruins and the Knights played. It was a fantastic game. The Bruins got behind, came back in the third period, tied it, and then lost in a late round shootout. A fantastic game. I don't think they'll play their best tonight. Good pick, Somich.
It's the plus money, right? If that's, I just think it's too high, and so I'm gonna take a shot with a team that is playing better too. The Avs have been playing better recently. Hopefully, we can keep that trend going. All right, you mentioned the Golden Knights, Aaron. Tell us why you like them tonight.
Well, listen, the Golden Knights, a fantastic effort in Boston. Boston had not lost at home before that game, and the Golden Knights got up 3-0. They had to just weather a storm like you would not believe from the Bruins. They rallied back something fierce. The Knights were still able to get it done, though, in that shootout. It was so exciting. Now they host the Rangers, so the Knights are finally back home after a long road trip to host the Rangers. It's more of and I see Jason Hommel's on the feed here. It's more of a play against the Rangers in this spot. I don't think this is a very good hockey team this year. They have not looked very good. I've watched them a lot. They don't have that punch. They're not getting that goaltending that they got last year. It's been good at times, but at times it hasn't been good whatsoever. I think it's a tough spot for New York now coming all the way over here to take on a very good Golden Knights team, a team that is very good at home as well. I think if the Knights win, I think they're going to win by more than 1 goal. That's the key. And I'm just with you. The plus 165 on this was too much for me to say, no, I'm not going to take it. I like the minus 1.5. I like the plus 165. I think the Knights get it done tonight. If they win, they're going to win by more than 1. That's my strong opinion. I think they'll get it done. I'm going to go Golden Knights. I think they're just a much better team right now than the Rangers.
One of the biggest home ice advantages in the NHL, and you wouldn't necessarily think it. It's twofold. First off, just a rabid fan base in Vegas. They wanted a professional sports team. They finally got one. They show out for this Golden Knights team. Second one, Not a great place to be on the road for one night. Let me tell you, you can get in some trouble in one night in Vegas. And you heard some stories about pro players there. When they get to go to Vegas for one night, it doesn't usually end well. It can be rough for them. So you look for teams that are coming in the night before and staying there one night and then leaving after the game. That's not always the best scenario. So I like the Golden Knights when they're at home. They're finally showing the potential that we thought we saw last year when they weren't able to kind of live up to the hype. This year they definitely are. All right, let's head over to the best bets of the day here, and then we'll sign off. We got Papadou taking the Grizzles, the Bucks, and the Hoosiers in a moneyline parlay plus 107. Aaron going to the Golden Knights minus 1.5 plus 165. I'm going to take the Avs plus 155 against the Bruins tonight. Down $278 for the week, but we got 3 nice little plus money bets, so hopefully we can get that back. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, and we'll get some racing involved as well tomorrow as we got a few more options around from the slate of the racetracks. All right. Anyway, have a good one, guys. We will see you tomorrow.